Okay, so this is a walkthrough for the session of Fired Up from my album VX1. And so I'm just going to walk through kind of like what's happening in this session. Um, and the state of this is before we went into mixing and before I put in Jane's vocals. Yeah, so you'll just hear me on both the leads in this. But yeah, so let's kind of go through it a little bit. As with a lot of things, I've split up um, the groups with the percussion first, then the bass, then our leads, then kind of our various uh, vocal parts. And so I guess we can start with the percussion. Um, so this percussion, I kind of this is one where I am using both a drum machine and a split percussion track. So what that means is essentially I've got a spit track that I have here. So this is like one where I just basically beatbox throughout the whole song, and then I kind of cut it and made sure that everything lined up well. And this is after all the editing and everything, so just moving everything around to the right spots. But essentially the reason why I did that with this one is there's two things here. One is this spit track, both for the I have two takes that are split to the pan to the left and right, and this kind of gives it a more natural feeling. I wanted this to feel more like a live band kind of feel. So I wanted the drums to feel a little bit more natural, and so when you are using a spit track, obviously like some of the things are a little bit moved to the left and right a little bit, or earlier and later, and it kind of adds a little bit of variation in there that you wouldn't necessarily have if you do just a drum machine. And as I've explained in some of my other tracks, the drum machine is basically a drum machine of just my sounds that I can make. So, I mean, not all the sounds, but essentially, and if we play that drum machine by itself, actually, you'll kind of hear where it does sound like a drum machine, right? And it just means that everything is kind of perfect, and that's the idea, is that it gives you these sounds that I've taken some time to make the best kick sound or the best crash sound that I can make for this track, and it lets me get that perfect one every single time, and it kind of fills out the space a little bit more. And so for this track, I used both of those because I wanted it to sound full and I wanted it to sound not electronic. So you kind of combine those together, where it takes out a little bit of that like staleness of the drum machine, but keeps the kind of sound space of that. So yeah, so you kind of see that this bit tracks are definitely, and the reason why these ones are muted right now is because basically a lot of times for the percussion when I'm doing this, I'll take this spit track and then I split out all of the, and I do this manually, so this takes a while. But essentially, I go through and say, "Oh, there's a kick right here," and I'll literally like cut that and like put it into the kick. And so that's what these other tracks. So this one is not color coded for some reason. A lot of times, what I'll do is kind of, I guess I did color code it in that I usually color code these ones black when I'm just using them either to drive something else like this. Oh, I don't have a lot of that in here. But essentially like this reference track or something that I don't expect to be exporting when I send out the track. So yeah. And you can hear each of these when I'm moving here. And so you kind of like add these together and you kind of get that spit track. So yeah, I mean, we could play around with those a little bit more. And sometimes the naming on these is a little bit weird, just because you're kind of like trying to match, like a sound from like a drum set to a voice sound, which doesn't really always line up correctly. Sometimes you use some beatbox specific terminology or whatnot. I don't have a lot of it in this one because they're all, I'm imitating a standard drum set for the most part in this song. Let's see. Oh yeah, but the reason why we split these out is just for like placement and EQ and like the different effects or whatnot. You don't want to necessarily treat a kick drum in the same way that you want to treat like a breath or something. That's yeah, I guess breath is, this is kind of various sounds, but I guess a hat is probably easier to. Oh, am I? Oh no, I guess I just did a bad job splitting that. I might have fixed that a little bit later, but yeah. So essentially, we're splitting all those out. And I see a lot of these are like loops and whatnot. I don't necessarily need to go through like the entire thing all the time, and I kind of like name them depending on where they are or whatever. And then so I usually split it out with all these kind of like standard kind of sounds. Oh, and a lot of this like ordering and stuff, I kind of that this is something that kind of Bill told me to start ordering stuff. So a lot of these kind of found an order, and I've kind of adopted his style of ordering stuff, where we start with like our low sounds and go up. I mean, this is a pretty standard kind of way of setting it up, but also for me, I've kind of split these out into our standard sounds, and then we've got some more like auxiliary sounds as we go through. So, and a lot of times I'll put like a spit, like if I have a spit trap that goes through it the entire track, I'll usually put it right there about. And then so the next is leads. I mean, there's not too much to talk about with the leads. Essentially, what I passed off is three little things. I've got our lead vocals, which is our mono like centered lead. As I'm doing that, I kind of find the takes that are like almost the best take, but not quite, and I kind of compile them into this lead one dub. So obviously, when I'm recording, I'll record maybe once all the way through, and sometimes it's great, and I'll just take it. But most of the time, I'll end up punching in different pieces here and there. And you can kind of see that here, where I've got some things. I've kind of a lot of these. You'll notice all the vocal tracks or whatever. They look very like I did it all in like not very many takes, but that's just because this is post editing. And a lot of times I've done all this like timing adjusting and tuning and those kinds of things. I didn't do as much tuning, or like I hardly did any tuning on the leads, just because I spent a lot more time getting them more perfect, and I wanted to make sure that any little adjustments, I'd rather leave that part to Bill than myself. I didn't want to mess it up. Whereas I did a lot more tuning with like all the background parts, because you don't necessarily hear those individual things, and it's much easier and takes a lot less time if you're if I just go through and tune those myself. Well, let's see. Yeah. Keeping me steel, got so much life. So I got the mono 101. I lost track of time when the sun, and these ones just two takes, pan hard left and right. And then we just got a kind of texture lead octave down in the back. And this kind of continues throughout the whole thing with both leads. The leads in here. Kind of through the night until the morning. I can't stop us, can't control this. We're gonna be up all night. But yeah, oh yeah, you can hear like a little bit of reverb on there. I've got some light effects on this session just to help me with visualization, kind of what it's gonna sound like. But yeah, so let's see. After the leads, we got our different sounds. This one's just like a and this one's pretty straightforward. It's just oohs. And it just repeats over and over and over. It kind of just fills out some space. It takes up that in that first section. It kind of brings us in, right? And then it just kind of falls back a little bit as we get into it. Pad 1 is basically just ooze through like everything pretty much, I think. Yeah, so this is more like a little bit more standard, just how you would sing stuff usually. I like to kind of mix in with my arranging words wherever I can. So you hear that there, where I'm just kind of getting into those vowels, but I'm using words, and it kind of helps fill out that. I lost track of time when the sun went down, but your energy keeps going strong. Your wheel is on the line. So it kind of turns it into an accent of the lead rather than just straight chords, which is kind of nice sometimes. What's this? I think I'm just filling out space at the beginning. Woo! Yeah, this is super quiet. Oh yeah, I try to combine sounds a lot. So you can kind of hear that here, where I kind of like to mix different vowel sounds together, and it kind of gives it a different feel. It kind of combines into its own little different kind of instrument when you combine those kinds of textures. So I always find that fun. You got so much life. Yeah, so I'm just kind of playing around here, and I think a lot of times I'll end up doing that to fill out space if something doesn't feel quite exciting enough. It just needs a little bit of juice. I kind of like to just play with parts. I kind of improvise a lot in those kinds of sections and try to figure out something. This seems similar to that. I lost track of time when the sun went down. Your energy keeps going strong. Yeah, so I'm just kind of giving things that we can work with. I think I remember this one being fun. This is the same kind of thing again, just kind of like trying to fill out space. This is a counter melody, so I like that. I lost track of time when the sun went down, but your energy keeps going strong. Your wheel is on the line, the perseverance. And again, like a lot of these, you'll notice that even beyond I group these in different instruments, if you will, and they're kind of doing different things. And you'll notice that, like, I mean, this is why this kind of thing takes so long to track, is because each of these is two voices. So you have like one instrument, it's got a chord, it's got four notes of the chord, so that's 8 voices, and so it takes a little while. But then when you kind of combine all these different like pads together, and it kind of creates a lot of different interesting things, and it gives us like the opportunity during mixing to you kind of can choose one of these to bring up or bring down at different times during the song, and you can generate more interest in there, even if like you have something that kind of goes a little bit longer. So then you have like the pads maybe filling it out, and it kind of gives this little like, I don't know, funny little band playing. And then yeah, so during that second verse, so that first verse, I'm just trying to get up some energy, bring up the energy a little bit, and then the second, I guess, I don't know, second half of the verse or second verse, where the second lead comes in, I kind of tried to bring it down and bring it into those. I think there was like some funny pad here that's doing something. No, not that one. Maybe it's this thing. Maybe. Nope, not that. Oh, it's this bubble thing. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to bring that out a little bit more, and this is just a different texture that we go into. I'll bring it up a little bit so you can hear the transition. Oop. How could I not be tired? Been a being with you, I would do these So the reason why I wanted to bring the energy down a little bit and bring it to this bubble thing is because I wanted to highlight those harmonies. You heard the harmonies in the counter melody. I don't know if it's here or there, but bringing that, yeah. So kind of focus more on the leads rather than the energy that we want in the first verse, in the first half of the verse or whatever, where we want to just give our energy at the beginning and say like, oh, we're here, we're having fun, and then we kind of bring it back and be like, oh, now we pay attention to the leads a little bit more and kind of feel where that's going. Yeah. And there's a counter melody, so you can. I would do this every time. I lost track of time when the sun went down, but your energy keeps going strong. Your fire's undeniable, fired me off tonight. We've been up all night trying to yeah, and then we kind of bring back into. Now we've got that lead focus, and we can bring the energy back with the leads. You bring them both leads at the same time. And kind of get that. Trying to explain how we make this work. It's the first time we hear this like pre-chorus thing. Chorus, I guess, I don't know. We'll keep it till the golden night. Fight up all right. Yeah, this song doesn't really have like a super proper chorus like that. I guess that's the closest thing to a chorus we have. That short little phrase. It's very verse heavy, which is kind of fun. Let's see. Oh yeah. So, and then those first two sections, we kind of like go through this energy section with the lead one. Then we go through this kind of like more like softer feeling section with lead two. And then the second one is kind of where they start having that conversation with each other. I kind of really wanted the leads to be trading off there. And so like that one is pretty easy to hear the. How is it that when I'm with you, I know everything's alright? How is it that when I'm with you, I know everything's alright? Gotta wake up on it, but it's easy when I'm by your side. Gotta wake up on it, but it's easy when I'm by your side. When I'm missing sleep and I'm missing you, it can only mean I cannot ever sleep a minute again. Of time when the sun went down, but your energy, it goes on and on. Waiting up all night trying to explain how we make this work, how we keep us safe. We'll be up all night to lose our mind. We'll keep each other going and fight us home. Yeah, that was a funny little thing. I think there's this one where I just had it like I was like, where do we go from here? I think the transition from this second section into the well, actually just this whole bridge for what to do here like really stumped me for a while. For a long time I just had this be the song basically, and it just didn't feel like it culminated in something big enough. And so eventually we came up with this middle section, and even when I had that, I had trouble getting into that section. And this is supposed to be like super far in the background kind of thing. But essentially, yeah, it's just kind of like taking this pad and kind of figuring out a way to kind of get it out without doing too much. Um, yeah. So I mean, this is kind of just another one of those instances of like the song. I mean, this album is like, I guess, kind of a cappella, is the way I was trying to challenge myself to build this album, but I was definitely not like looking to like I don't care. I just wanted it to sound cool. I wasn't like very purist about anything. So this one was obviously just like an electronic like pitch up throughout that whole thing. Did I freeze that? I guess I did. Oh no, there it is. Okay. Oh, I did it as a group. Okay. Yeah. So it's just a frequency shift all the way up. And these pads are like, sure, whatever. Oops, sorry. And then the bridge section is really just kind of like that. I wanted to take that lead and kind of have that ground it, and kind of have a party happening behind it. So you just have all this chaos that's happening in the background. This is just a bunch of improv stuff. Jane added stuff here too later, but essentially it's just having fun. Where we wanted to focus on that. Morning. I can't stop us, can't control these. We're gonna be up all night. So it's one big chorus. Alright, we're grooving now. There's nothing to risk. Concentrate, we'll push on through this. We're teaming up, no one can stop us. We're gonna be up all night. So like what? That's like eight, like I don't know, like 20 something 30 voices, just all singing on that phrase, going with the same thing. And then we've got these like rhythm pads and accents and stuff that are just I think we added more of these later too. Just that, and the percussion is kind of like just like your little like having fun in the back. And then I think we started bringing in like some building chorus. I try to keep it more staccato around here, and then as we get in here, we start getting those more legato phrases. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's that little thing at the end here. This is just kind of a built into it kind of thing. Let's see. And everything's supposed to be a big chord that ends up in that big like boom chorus, you know, at the end. We've been up all night trying to explain how we make this work, how we keep us sane. We'll be up all night till we lose our minds. We'll keep each other going, we'll keep each other going, we'll keep each other going tonight. Fight up all right. Oh yeah, I think this bit was used too. Maybe not. I don't remember. I think I was just trying to fill out more space in that bridge. But yeah, the end is pretty straightforward. It's just a bunch of voices. They're not doing anything super unique or anything. Yeah, it's just big chorus stuff. Yeah, so mostly I think this song is like pretty straight for compared to how the rest of this album goes. I would say this song of the album is probably the most a cappella, and it's just because it's trying to kind of imitate a more of an acoustic feel, like a less electronic feeling, like band kind of, whereas like this whole section is kind of like I'm trying to start off as like like more of like a like feeling like you're in somebody's house kind of band, and then as we kind of just jamming out, and then as we go on, it kind of gets into this bigger stage, more like feeling party thing, and then into a big chorus at the end. Um, so yeah, that's basically how this song went. That's kind of a walkthrough of all the different parts that went into it, and yeah, I hope that explanation is useful in some way or another.